Welcome to Holistic Dog Behavior, the podcast, where we explore the science, emotions, and stories behind dog behavior. I'm Megan, a certified dog behavior consultant. And I'm Bridget, Megan's twin sister. We're here to make understanding your dog easier and more accessible. Join us as we break down complex topics and share practical insights to help you and your dog thrive every step of the way. Before we dive in, a quick note. The information we share on this podcast is meant to be educational and empowering, but it's not a substitute for professional advice tailored to your dog's specific needs. Always consult with a qualified behavior professional or veterinarian if you're dealing with serious behavior or medical concerns. Dogs are individuals, and every journey is unique, just like yours. Hey, Bridge, how's it going?
Hey, Meg. I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good. Doing good. Maple went to the vet yesterday. Her final round of puppy vaccines.
Yay, good girl.
Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, Maple's our puppy. She's 16 weeks now. So she got 4 shots yesterday, I think. Yeah, and she actually did amazing. I was so proud.
Yay.
Yeah. The first vet appointment we had with her, I was really nervous because she did bark at the vet tech that came in because she rolled the rolly chair too quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she scared Maple. And so then when she came back in the room after she had left, Maple was like, oh, nice chair. And so we did a lot of mitigation throughout that session, throughout that appointment of just like, it's okay, you don't have to get touched by her, like you can get a couple of treats when you look at her, like that kind of thing. But then we just left because our appointment was over and I let her decompress from that and everything. And then we went back and did not a bunch because you don't want to overwhelm them either with puppy socialization, but we did a few happy visits.
Yay.
Happy vet visits.
Yeah.
Where you go to the vet and you don't actually go in an exam room, or you can go in an exam room, but you don't do any poking or prodding of the dog. And so we did that with her, and I used straight up just like shredded chicken, and she loved it. She had so much fun. She would get up on the scale. She would sit on stuff. She would say hi to people during the happy visits. And so she had 2 more appointments. The last one she did really well, but she was had some concern for certain people, like people she had not met yet. But then this time, oh my God, she did so good. She was so happy to see all the people, pretty much probably because she's met all of them now. Yeah. So, and we had a really great vet tech this time who knows some behavior stuff, which was really cool. We nerded out a little bit, which was awesome. And so she kind of left Maple alone because she had read in the notes that she's a little nervous when vet techs first come in. And Maple was so funny because for the first minute or so, Maple saw her and she was she went up to sniff her and the vet tech was ignoring her. And then she got annoyed. She was she did her little grumbly
yeah.
Which for those of you who don't know, I freaking love dogs that talk to you. It's so adorable and cute. I love it. Yeah. Of course, it can get very annoying sometimes, but mostly I love it. And so that was lovely to see because she was like, hey, why are you not paying attention to me? I want your attention now.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that can actually be a really great method. That's a great thing I use that all the time with dogs that have nervousness or certain types of reactivity and stuff, because ignoring them a lot of the times helps them feel safer. And so so eventually we bring her a little mat every time, and it's actually not for her to do a place on. A lot of people are like, oh, I see you're already teaching her to place on a mat. I'm like, yes and no. Mostly it's because she doesn't like to lay on the cold floor.
Yeah.
But she ended up laying down and just chewing on her bone the whole time. And then we've worked a lot on cooperative care stuff, which is basically teaching her that when I touch you in certain places, like on your ear, or if I lift your lip to see your teeth, you get a treat. So she did really well with that. And got her vaccines, and she did really well with her vaccines because I teach her a little cue that's poke.
Oh.
And so, but right before they do it, I say poke, and then she doesn't even notice it at this point in her life, which is great. Yeah. And then we chatted with the vet a little while because I'm kind of friendly with her because she's really nice. I just really like her.
Oh.
And Maple fell asleep in my arms.
That is
Yeah,
fantastic.
I know. And I was like, what a transition from her first visit. I'm so proud. So
Yeah.
proud of her. Yeah.
So proud.
Yeah. So that was yesterday. That was really, really like just such a nice little boost for us to
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's been cranky since I think some of the vaccines are like making her feel a little icky since
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But, which is really also like I feel bad, but is also like adorably cute because she's like a little gremlin like groaning around the house and stuff. And like when she's trying to nap, she like can't get comfortable. Probably because she got a little bit of soreness on her like hip or her leg and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah,
Oh.
but yeah. So that's what
Oh.
we've been up to.
Oh, well, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm very proud of my little niece.
Yeah. Yeah. She did so good. I'm so proud of her too.
Yeah, good. And
Yeah.
that's such a, oh, I'm like, the vet stuff is so huge. And a lot of people, I think there's a lot of information out there now about kind of implementing the force free, fear free methods at a
Mm-hmm.
vet office. A lot of vets are now kind of enveloping that into their practice as much
Mm-hmm.
as I can tell. They're definitely not some.
Yeah, that's true.
But we go to a force free, fear free place, and it's just so interesting to see what kind of things they implement to help. And it's really awesome when you find a vet that can understand like where you're coming from with like the behavior stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
can really like help you out
Yeah.
with it, because it can be, I've had like traumatic experiences at the vet
Mm.
before I was able to find our current vet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have a similar
Yeah.
experience, especially, and Remy's like, well, and I don't know if you've had any traumatic experiences at the vet with Hazel, but Remy's like not even a behavior case when it comes to
Yeah.
going to the vet. Like she does pretty fine at the vet. I mean, she doesn't
She
like love it.
definitely has, yeah, she's definitely gotten more and more nervous as we
Yeah.
go. We haven't done as many happy visits in like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
When
But
we
even like,
first, yeah.
even though she's not a behavior case, you've still had traumatic experiences, which is just like
Mm-hmm.
really disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, like exactly. She has like a fear reaction for sure, anxiety kind of reaction
Mm-hmm.
now when we go, but yeah, it's not.
Probably as a result of some of that trauma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And that's very sad.
Yeah. Poor
I get like,
baby.
it's, yeah. The vet can be really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be
Yeah.
really hard, but there are so many great vets out there and like the resources to find them are out there. They can just
Mm-hmm.
be a little bit tricky if you just don't know what to look for, which most people don't, because why
Mm-hmm.
would you?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, there's like a force-free, fear-free website.
Directory.
Yeah, that gives you like a directory to different
Oh.
vets nearby. But also like you can just sort of like reach out and talk to them and see like
Mm-hmm.
how would you do this if my dog was scared,
Mm-hmm. Do you
And if
think
they're like,
like,
"Oh, we'd hold
mm.
him down with like five people." I was like, "No. Definitely not."
Oh my
No, I'm
God.
kidding. I
Uh,
mean, there's always there's like you just never know what's going to happen. So like
yeah.
if something really really like life-threatening is happening, sometimes like stuff has to be done, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um but it's more like the normal vet visits where we want to be like able to find people who can do force free, fear free. We still want to find that for the emergency people too, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's just emergencies and you got to get a shot in a dog or you have to reset their leg or you have to give them something so that
Yeah.
they like anesthesia so that they go under so that you can even fix the thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, of course, vets do amazing work, and they're wonderful, wonderful
yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
doing such amazing things for our lovely, sweet pets.
Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
can
They're
still be stressful for human and pet.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of vets are like really getting into the behavior side a lot more, which is super cool.
Yeah, our
Um,
vet has a behavior consultant who like works there, and I recently, yeah, had the pleasure of talking with her. about an upcoming like dental for Remy because we were just really concerned about leaving her for the whole day, which a lot of times you have to like leave her there for the whole day. And I was like,
And
oh,
she has
she
separation
has really bad
anxiety.
separation anxiety. And I don't know what this will do in terms of setting her back. And they
Yeah.
worked with us
They were so
and they
accommodating,
were
right?
so accommodating and really understanding and very, very kind. But it made it so much easier and us so much more comfortable. And they were able to bring her in, I think, and then get her under right away
Mm.
and work on her teeth. And we call it her teeth skis. Her teeth skis.
Love
I
that.
don't know why. I think Seth came just like as a weirdo. He like comes up with like silly little words.
Hmm.
But yes, she got her little teeth skis cleaned and had no extractions needed, and we were able to pick her up at like 2, I think. Yeah, she had, and a lot of times they are kind of kennel them afterwards, I think,
Hmm.
and to like rest and monitor them. And they were so nice that they had her out of a kennel with someone at all times, even though like in hindsight, I'm like, she was probably so like out of it that she wouldn't have even known.
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. But
But
still, just
still.
like they were so accommodating, I think because you just kind of explained to them like how long your journey has been with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like, I just if we can help it in any way to like
Yeah.
make sure it wouldn't cause her to feel stress
Mm-hmm.
in terms of that separation. Like we don't want her being alone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
then that would be great. And they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. It was great to have like people who are willing to work with you on
Hmm.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Vets are great. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Very grateful for them.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I think that's something we'll have to cover in the future too, because there's just so many things you can do. And like you were such a huge help in that particular example as our behavior consultant, like
Hmm.
in the family.
Yeah.
um our resident behavior consultant in the family. We've been working with you for a long time with all of like our Remy stuff and now Hazel. But yeah, it was really great to have you as a resource. So I think that's another thing to think about for people listening who are interested in working with a behavior consultant like Megan, that they can also like give you guidance on even like how do I talk to my vet about my dog's behavior
Yes.
and how can I advocate for my dog. And
Hmm.
Megan, you're just really good at giving very like easy to understand examples of like here's why like we like and here's a plan, here's why we would like to like kind of stick to this plan or whatever, or just like asking. I know that I didn't explain that very well, but
No, but I have done this with lots of previous clients where I'll ask them do you give me permission to reach out to your vet for you? And then I CC them on the emails or I give them like a rundown after the call, but I talk to
oh,
their vet for them, especially when it's a behavior case and they're like, we don't know how to get him or her, or we don't know how to get our dog even into the vet office because they're so
oh,
scared or they're so reactive. And so coming up with like a plan with the veterinary office. And like I talked to the front office people too
mhm,
to get that figured out. And then also we talk about the dog's behavior issues specifically so that the vet understands what's happening. So there's
mhm,
no like miscommunication between the client who doesn't necessarily know even what's happening still with their dog
mhm.
because they don't have the level of education that I do, even though I'm trying to help them through it. So that miscommunication can sometimes happen between the client and the vet, and so that's where I love to try to help there by giving the vet like all the all the really technical stuff
Yeah.
that has to do with the client's dog's behavior.
Yeah.
And then we
Which
also discuss
mhm.
pharmaceuticals too. I am not able to recommend pharmaceuticals to anyone, but I'll talk to the vet to be like, hey, this is what's happening with your dog or with this person's dog. What kind of behavior meds can you recommend for them?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow, that's amazing. I wish I had someone like that for like my own doctor appointments.
Right. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
definitely have
think
like white coat anxiety.
yeah, I do too. Yeah. And I think it's like it's a similar thing where you're like you have to like almost like shop around to find the right fit. It's like with the
Yeah.
therapist too. And you have to do that with dog trainers and dog behavior consultants too. Like
Yeah.
if we don't vibe, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is such a cool thing that you do, that you actually are willing and able, and you have done it before, to just like go say, hey, I will talk to your vet for you if you need
Hmm.
that, you know?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hmm.
Wow.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, I think that's enough vet talk for today. So I want to get into some concepts that are in behavior modification that we can use in different ways with our dogs to help them begin to change their association with their triggers or things that they have negative associations with. You can use these methods for other things too, but really we're talking about them in a behavioral context. All right, I'm just going to jump right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, we're going to talk about desensitization first. Desensitization is a method of essentially exposing your dog to the thing that they're worried about or that they have a negative association with already in really tiny increments over a period of time. Typically, it's a long period of time, and slowly getting a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer to that thing that they're scared of, all the while throughout that entire process, making sure they're never actually stressed.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh
is what
my God, this is
desensitization
bringing
is.
me PTSD, honestly.
Yeah. That is
But
essentially what separation anxiety is. It's pretty much straight up desensitization. Like that's
yeah.
almost all you do. So, just to remind everybody, desensitization is when you slowly and incrementally expose your dog to their trigger so that they can experience it at like more intense levels over time while not being stressed at all throughout that whole process. And so, what that looks like is, say you have, we're just going to do it like with the simplest example because separation anxiety is a little tricky.
Yeah.
I might still talk about that, how you guys did that a little bit. But essentially, like one of the easiest examples to understand this with is your dog. You're standing with your dog in a field, and there's a dog on the other end of the field. And your dog is at a distance. Again, distance, duration, and intensity kind of come back in all the time. They're always at play
Three
all the time.
Ds. Mm. Which we
Um,
talked about last episode. So go back and listen.
yeah. It's a good one. And so that distance is really important when we're talking about desensitization in this context. Desensitization in the context of separation anxiety can have stuff to do with distance, but it's really duration that we're talking about there. So with this particular example, you have your dog and you are standing on one side of a field, and the other dog is on the other side of the field, and your dog is scared of other dogs. You need to be at a distance where your dog is not stressed at all, but they notice the dog. And with desensitization, when we're only talking about desensitization, you're basically moving, like, think about it as like literally one physical step at a time closer to that dog over the amount of time your dog needs so that they are not stressed throughout that entire process. That is what desensitization means by itself.
Right.
And a lot of times we can use that alone. A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we use it in conjunction with counter conditioning.
It is making me think about a couple of things that like friends or people that I know have come to me asking, mainly like, can you ask Megan about this?
Yeah.
Friend of ours, dog, was unfortunately sort of attacked at a dog park a long time ago.
Yeah.
And ever since then, she has had some, from my perspective, displayed some fear responses and possible reactivity towards certain dogs. Not all dogs, but dogs that look a certain way.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah.
And dogs that unfortunately look like Leo. Probably.
Big, dark colored
Yeah.
dogs. Yeah.
And it's so sad because, like, of course, she's scared now and, like, has a fear response. She was like bleeding at the dog park and stuff and, like, was really scared. So, anyways, I their family members that they recently visited got a new dog too. From what I was told, they tried to introduce them inside their family member's house. It did not go very well. And I was trying to think about how to like maybe give them some advice on next time they try and have them meet. And it kind of began with the 3Ds and desensitization, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it. So which can be really hard, I suppose, if you're, if they live like 6 hours away. So it's like
right. Yeah.
Can't like really spend that much time there desensitizing. So this might not be a great example, but they have a really big yard. So I was thinking, yeah, like the distance and desensitizing from a safe distance might be helpful.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's certain contexts and there's like other things layered there that are going on too. But in that specific example, inside can be a really tough thing for dogs, especially if it was like at that person's house.
Yeah.
Because just like depending on the dynamics there, some dogs can be like territorial about their house or just be like, what is this thing doing in my house? Who are you? So I think that particular example in the house, distance probably did come into play a lot. That desensitization is one of the core things that we're going to try if we're doing behavior modification together. And it is going to come down to like what your dog needs. What kind of distance do they need? How much time do they need to just like observe the trigger from a distance that they feel comfortable at before you can get a little bit closer or a little bit, make the situation a little bit more intense. And I feel for the people who have dogs that they need to work through that with.
Yeah,
honestly, it's one of the hardest things.
You, and if you are struggling out there, we totally relate and we're holding space for you. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But you can do this. It's okay.
Yeah. Music for Holistic Dog Behavior, the podcast by Mark Shevlin. Art and design by Studio HMS. Produced by Holistic Dog Behavior.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. To learn more, follow us on social media at Holistic Dog Behavior or go to holisticdogbehavior.com.